are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Christine is back, so I'll just put Christine on as well. Okay. Do you want to share the screen or should I just share for you because I already have it here?
Um, Di ko kabasa, sir. So maybe I can share.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Stop presenting. Go ahead. It is recording. So you can start off with just introduction to your area, to your region, and then the population data. Is the population increasing or decreasing? And then into physical issues, socioeconomic issues, and some possible solutions for your region.
Okay, sir.
Sige. Okay, now I'm looking at your screen. I'm going to mute myself.
Wait for a while, sir, kung medyo saba ang TV.
Okay lang. Wala may noise akong end.
Okay, sir. Okay. My thesis is actually on the municipality of Jimenez in the province of Misamis Occidental. So my location is on the northern part of Mindanao or the region 10. So we have here the Cagayan de Oro City, Bukidnon City, and Pagadian City, and our province, the Misamis Occidental. So I'm on this part sa Mindanao. And under the province of Misamis Occidental, so here's the Jimenez, the municipality of Jimenez. So we're on the coastal area part. Medyo di klaro niyo. Oh, sorry. Ano?
Okay lang.
Mali.
You can
And
zoom in if you want.
okay, sir. Maybe later. And this one is the part of the barangay of Jimenez, which is the core and buffer zone of the heritage, cultural heritage is located. But actually, dalawang barangay siya, but I just chose the Barangay National Jimenez because the natural cultural treasure, the church, is situated here. And maybe the other part of the barangay wherein the heritage is located is this in this area, mga half lang. Okay. The Region 10 or the Northern Mindanao from the 1990 to 2020 population. The population of Northern Mindanao grew from 2,811,646 in 1990 to 5,022,768 in 2020. So the latest census figures in 2020 denote a positive increase of 336,466 people from the previous population of 4,689,302 in 2015. So we can see here that the population is increasing. Next, the municipality of Jimenez population grew from 20,589 in 1990 to 28,909 in 2020. The latest census figures in 2020 note a positive increase of 1,255 people from the previous population of 27,654 in 2015. This is still increasing, and based on the Barangay National, the population of National grew from 994, konti lang kayo siya, in 1990 to 1,865 in 2020. So there's an increase of 871 people over the course of 30 years, actually, from the data that I gathered now, which is from 1903 pa siya. Then the latest census figures in 2020 denote a positive increase of 296 people from the previous population of 1,569 in 2015. The Barangay Nacional represented the 6.45% of the total population of the municipality of Jimenez. So, as I said before, that my thesis is about the heritage town in Jimenez. So here are the physical issues. Oh, sorry. The strengths of Jimenez, since Jimenez is a heritage town, thus the identity as a Hispanic town is very evident and can be seen around that town because you can see some cultural properties such as mga residences, mga antique residences, and National Cultural Treasure, which is the St. John Baptist Parish Church, which are the highlights for tourism and cultural preservation. The weaknesses is some of the cultural property structures are not being preserved by the owners, thus making the LGU a hard time in convincing them the value of these cultural properties. Policies and ordinances to maintain the style and identity of the heritage town in the core zone seems to be unclear as seen in the town presently. And regarding the socioeconomic issues, the strengths of this town, since the NCCA did the core, the national culture and um, arts did the core and buffer zone mapping and delimitation for selected national cultural treasures in 2013-2014, such as the town of Jimenez. The economy has evidently rise as tourism in the heritage town. Another factor is in the whole Philippines, there are only 3 selected cultural treasure that has been given the opportunity na magka-core and buffer zone mapping. So from the whole Philippines, isa si Jimenez, which is the St. John Baptist Parish Church. So as the economy booms, commercial establishments are now booming around the core zone or the cultural map, core and buffer zone. The weaknesses is that due to the demand of tourism, establishments are appearing near and on the core zone mismo, in which some of it are occupying on the cultural properties while not preserving the identity of the culture. Adding to this, it's not actually, there's nothing wrong with going back to the identity before na the ground floor of houses are for the commercials, usually before ilang mga garages. Kaso, it's not really preserved. They're just doing their renovations on their own, and there's no clear in renovation sa in their policies, and lahi-lahi sila tanan karon. And even the commercial establishments that are on the commercial establishments that are new in the core zone. So the strategy to solve or mitigate issues. Since the heritage town of Jimenez has a good vision in preserving the culture, but it should be supported and consulted by the professionals to have clear policies and ordinances in protecting and preserving the culture. Because as I interviewed before in the tourism of the LGU, the tourism officer, they actually adopted the national laws of heritage to the town. Actually, most of it ilahang giata, but they have not considered that these laws, if these laws and policies can fit to the town. So there are visible changes that you can actually see around the town today, which the LGU made for the beautification and upgrading to the town, but actually defeated the identity of the cultural heritage by just applying what they seen to other cities. So nag-copy paste lang. So the heritage town of Jimenez should consult on their policies and ordinances in implementing in order to have clear understanding on the importance of culture and preservation to the people. If I may add, sa tanan aliniya, ang iyahan yung tumong or the first hand the problem is because they don't have a clear understanding of cultural preservation sa mga policies na ilang i-apply or implement to the municipal itself. So that would be all, sir.
Okay, very good. So really definitely need that clear understanding of heritage preservation. So which brings me to some questions over here. I'm just gonna have your map on the screen. So I was curious, like how big are these heritage sites? Just estimate, and like how big are these buildings? Like, are they 2 stories, 3 stories? What kinds of materials are they usually made out of?
There are 2 to 3 stories, sir, and they're actually bahay na bato usually.
Mm. So are these like on what do you call this? Is it all in your municipality or like barangay national? I mean.
Um, Nag-extend siya, sir, to the neighboring barangay, which is and in that part only, but medyo half lang, konti na lang.
Mm. So the two heritage buildings are in Barangay Nacional.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And just a few more. What is the condition of these buildings? Like, are they kanang near to like being destroyed, or are they still being used for some other kanang use like tourism or something?
They're still being used today, sir, as residences, and some are being kept na lang as museum by the owners.
Okay, good. And then finally, one last question. How does copy pasting ordinances hurt heritage conservation?
Because there are factors that we cannot really apply to the town, kasi usually the the preserved heritage cities are mostly cities, kaso si Jimenez is a town. So they differ into population and to the ang ilang socio-economic status, and even to their considerations kasi it's town compared to the other cities.
Mhm. Could you give an example of like if you're familiar lang, if you know of a section of the ordinance that might harm the existing heritage site, like maybe there's a recommendation in there that you think is not good. Do you know anything like that?
Not really the section, sir, but they told me of the tourism officer, which is, for example, the following the style, the Hispanic style, to all the new construction around the zone, and yeah, then actually they don't have a clear policy to that Hispanic style, kasi not all of the residents here or structures are not actually in Hispanic style, kasi some of it are from the American colonization.
Very good. So they're trying to apply Hispanic style to actually American built structures. So you're already changing the character of the building.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Actually, I know that you know. I just wanted to ask for the video. Okay, very good. So the presentation works. It's a little bit because I was hoping for something like you don't have to copy my guide directly because I think you were just following my instructions. But
Yes,
maybe
sir.
if you can, because we have like a week before we put in the midterm grades. Maybe if you have, I'll give you a week extension just to make this a bit more kanang prettier. So
Okay,
it's not
sir.
so bland, bitaw. You can submit next meeting. But I like the idea here, and really because one of the things that I really want to this class to do is like increase awareness of the different issues you guys are handling. And if we have like good looking posters, it might like attract people to be more aware of these kinds of topics. 'Cause this is very important, I feel. And yeah, just make it a little bit like prettier. So maybe like add a bit of like make it look like an infographic poster, bitaw.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you can, maybe include as well kind of growth rates next to the population data, because it's very interesting. We see that in 30 years, almost double ang population sa Region 10.
Yes, sir.
But in Jimenez, like in comparison, Jimenez only not even like I think it's around 10% or just an increase of 8,000 people. Pero national population, Barangay National is doubled again from 900 to 1,800. So meaning in the general area of Jimenez, Barangay National is one of the higher growth areas because if you can see the number here, the growth rate isn't so big. So maybe it's more focused in an area around Barangay Nacional. And maybe we can say that why is it growing so fast? It's because of your heritage sites na mas isog ang tourism in your area. And that's like a growth contributor. And then once like the government and you talking to like whoever's in charge of heritage, make the people of Barangay Nacional realize that they'll be more likely to it's easier for us to convince them to protect the heritage because we could probably say na that's why this area is growing because of our heritage and that's why we need to protect it. Otherwise, what's the point without? And then it's not sustainable because it's already there. You just maintain it and you improve it. So very good presentation. So I'll just give you an extension for this, just make it look a little bit nicer. But the presentation overall was very good. Thank you, Olyra.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I'm just writing it down on a piece of paper here before I put it on Canvas. Next, let's see who goes next. Oh, Ezra. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Napay applause.
I will share my screen na lang, sir.
Yes, go ahead, share your screen. I'll stop sharing.
Sir, naka-share pa yung screen niyo po.
I stopped sharing my screen na. Can you try, like, whenever you press the share screen button, make sure you share your whole screen. So sometimes it gets fun. There, it's sharing. Okay, very good.
Okay, good evening po.
Sige, just start whenever you're ready.
Mimaropa region. Mimaropa lies at the southern part of Luzon. It is archipelagic, comprising the large group of island provinces of Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan. The name is an acronym that stands for its 5 constituent provinces, and it has a total land area of 30,235.79 square kilometers. The region had 5 provinces, 2 cities, 71 municipalities, and 1,459 barangays. Its population, as determined by the 2020 census, was 3,228,558. This represented 5.19% of the overall population of the Luzon Island group or 2.96% of the entire population of the Philippines. Based on these figures, the population density is computed at 109 inhabitants per square kilometer or 282 inhabitants per square mile. The Mimaropa region is bordered clockwise from the northeast by the Tayabas Bay, Sibuyan Sea, Sulu Sea, Malabak Strait, and the West Philippine Sea. The population of Mimaropa grew from 179,800 in 1903 to 3,228,558 in 2020, an increase of 3,048,758 people over the course of 117 years. The latest census figures in 2020 denote a positive growth rate of 1.82% or an increase of 265,198 people from the previous population of 2.9 million in 2015. Next is the province of Palawan. Palawan lies between Mindoro in the northeast and Borneo in the southwest, and between the West Philippine Sea and Sulu Sea. It is the country's largest province in terms of total area of jurisdiction, and it has a total land area of 14,642.94 square kilometers, excluding Puerto Princesa City with a total land area of 2,381.02 square kilometers. It comprises of one highly urbanized city, which is Puerto Princesa, 23 municipalities, 367 barangays, which excludes the 66 barangays of Puerto Princesa. The province's economy is also basically agricultural, with the production of the three major crops such as palay, corn, and coconut. In addition, it is also one of the best tourist destinations with the best beaches in Asia and home of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, such as the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park and Tubataha Reef Marine Park. Next is the Puerto Princesa City. It is a highly urbanized city in the Mimaropa region. Although administratively independent due to its distinction as highly urbanized city, Puerto Princesa is commonly grouped with the island province of Palawan. It also serves as the provincial capital of the province. The city has a land area of 2,381.02 square kilometers, and its population as determined by the 2020 census was 307,079, and this represented 9.51% of the total population of the Mimaropa region. Based on these figures, the population density is computed at 129 inhabitants per square kilometer or 334 inhabitants per square mile. Puerto Princesa has 66 barangays, 35 urban barangays, and 31 rural barangays. The latest census figures in 2020 denote a positive growth rate of 3.98%, or an increase of 51,963 people from the previous population of 255,116 in 2015. Now we go on the Barangay San Manuel. San Manuel is a barangay in the city of Puerto Princesa, and its population as determined by the 2020 census was 18,500 people, and this represented 6.03% of the total population of Puerto Princesa. It has a total land area of 5.22 square kilometers. Puerto Princesa City is Palawan's urban center with tourism, agriculture, fishery, trade, and commerce driving its economy. It is the country's first carbon-neutral city, and it is also home to the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park, a World Heritage Site. The hazards present in the city are the following. First is the flooding, second, storm surge, third, landslides, and last is fire or urban forest fire. And the land area is composed of forest land, 76%, environmental critical areas of 4%, agriculture, 2%, existing build-up areas, 2%, and potential urban land, 16%. Now we move on to the physical issues, socioeconomic issues, and the strategies in mitigating these identified issues. First is the physical issues. Puerto Princesa City is a unique ecosystem dominated largely by forested mountains, and the city is surrounded by large bodies of water that are home to large marine ecosystems, from which major industries such as fishing play a pivotal role in. The city has also vast area which plays a significant factor in resource distribution. The densely populated areas in the city are concentrated in a single area at its eastern coast, and the particular projections that are key in understanding the impacts to the city are the projected decreases in precipitation and the projected increase in temperature. The projections, coupled with vastly forested and rich marine ecosystem of the city, may provide challenges for the city. The mountainous areas of the city divide it into eastern and western coast. The eastern coast has flat to hilly terrain. The west coast, on the other hand, is mostly mountainous. Approximately 65% of the city has slopes exceeding 18%, which is also known as rugged terrain up to broken slopes. and the remaining 35% is flat to moderate slopes. First issue is the water sources. The development of groundwater in the city proper to supply part of its water requirements has limited potential because of low yield and partly saltwater intrusion into the fresh water aquifers. The groundwater quality of the city is relatively poor, with a pH higher than 7.2, which is the benchmark for good quality groundwater. The watersheds selected are those that serve as catchments to the major rivers in the city. Present and potential sources of water supply and critical to sustaining the productivity of the agricultural in the lowland and coastal marine habitats and fisheries. The soil types. Lowland soils found in the city are mostly alluvial in formation and are usually fertile soils, hence they are classified as prime agricultural lands. This type of soil is usually suitable for irrigation and has potential for good yields of rice. Upland soils are usually formed in place from underlying bedrocks, and they are usually thin compared to alluvial deposits and are prone to erosion in the absence of vegetation cover. Next is the land classification. Inalienable and disposable lands were estimated to comprise about 15% of the total land area of the city. The forest land or timberland, which cannot be titled, covers almost 11% of the total area of Puerto Princesa. And the unclassified public forest land makes up 74% of the total land area of the city. This implies that many of the residents who are occupying lands in the city do not have titles. These alienable and disposable lands are located in slopes above 18%, thereby making these lands susceptible to erosion and eventually land degradation when they are developed into agriculture or settlements. The ancestral domain claims within the city is about 90% of the claimed areas fall within the forest lands. And as of 2000, 14,000 hectares or 15% of claimed lands were approved by the DNR. And this large developable land for agriculture and agro-industries, yet low agricultural production and productivity. Next is topography and slope. Only about 22% of the total land area of the city has severe limitations for settlements and infrastructure development because of steep slopes. Moderate slopes of 8 to 18%, which can also be developed for agriculture and low-density housing, comprise 15% of the city's total land area. However, agriculture and settlements development within this moderate slope range has to adopt soil conservation and slope stabilization measures to avoid soil erosion and landslides. Next is poor drainage system. Drainage structures are out of reinforced concrete culverts of various sizes, open CHB canals, open riprap canals, open soil canals, and open precast canals. Most areas of the city have open type of drainage, and only a few portions have the culverts that can be found along major thoroughfares. The major thoroughfare, particularly Rizal Avenue, is flooded during rainy days due to clogged waterways, and the gravitational flow water is hampered due to the drainage system's poor design, specifically in considering the topography of the area. Likewise, the increasing construction of residential and commercial structures adversely affects the natural drainage lines. Some original waterways were blocked or impaired, thus aggravates the poor condition of the drainage system. Next is power interruptions. There was total of 239.97 hours power interruption during the previous year, and yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. It
Hi.
seems like you're listing down all of the things. I was hoping that you would focus on your, like, how do you connect your thesis to the physical attributes of your site, the economic and the socioeconomic attributes of your site. So this one is good, but it's like it seems a bit too general. Is this like could you like focus on how this impacts your kanang thesis proposal of the perceived effects of trees and arrangement at Puerto Princesa, city of Balayong?
Actually, sir, I considered the whole Puerto Princesa in my report.
Hello, sorry.
I considered the whole urban area of Puerto Princesa City. My project is urban park.
Okay, so the whole of, so how does this
The
data connect to your proposal? I know about the soil type, the flooding.
yes,
Um, hmm,
is a solution, sir, to some of the flooded areas, and also an open space to mitigate some green infrastructure to help in reducing the air pollution. The greeneries help in the reduction of flooding areas, and also the uh, covering of vegetation within the large urban park. The urban park caters the whole urban center, sir.
okay, so where is the park located?
Here, sir. Near the Santa Monica and Tinigaban, between Santa Monica and Tinigaban.
Santa Monica and Tinigbuan. Can you show, can you point it with your mouse?
Yes, sir. Here, sir, the blue one.
Okay, they're in blue. Okay, good. Sige. So on your poster over here, you have, let's see. So definitely a new open park would help with like storm surge, rainwater-induced landslides. Is your area like prone to landslides, or is this the whole Puerto Princesa?
My area actually, sir, because it is a sloping terrain. The Santa Monica is a sloping terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And it has also type of soil that easily erode. So this part also help in the reduction of the landslides or soil erosion by providing vegetation and trees to um, absorb or hold the roots help in the holding the soil to minimize the erosion.
Okay, good. Okay, so how does the socioeconomic issues like, let's say, um, livestock and fisheries impact your um, proposed uh, tree park? How does it impact your park? Like, is your park, how does your park fit into the socioeconomic issues of livestock and fisheries, and for example, something like that?
Actually, these parts are the agriculture, livestock, and fisheries, and also the mining operations are in the rural areas,
Mm.
rural barangays. So I thought it was included because it is also part of the city,
Okay, okay. So
but
that's
I
fine. So,
can remove them.
no, that's okay.
Remove them.
It's just that I want it to be more focused on your kanang thesis. So there's like a connection without. You can see how your thesis will impact the not just your site kaning sa Santa Monica, but how it fits into the city level, the barangay level, and then in a smaller sense, the whole kanang region. So,
Yes, sir.
some notes here. So, just remove the parts that are sort of not really connected with your thesis proposal, because this way we can have like how the project is like for an urban planning issue. How does the project deal with these kinds of issues? Like, for example, your park. And then I'm using your thesis because you guys already have a very good idea of what you're going to do for your thesis. And then if you connect it with all these issues, you can see how your thesis will be contributing to not just your project site, but to the whole city and region. So it's all connected, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is a very good setup here. And sorry, I just had to cut you short. It seems like the gun you guys come discuss.
Maybe it's I think I have forgotten the the focus of this midterm, sir. I considered all that surrounds the area in the urban center.
Mhm. So
I
it's a
can
bit too wide na coverage. And then, but I do appreciate the effort here. So very good. So I'm gonna go to my kanang question portion. So I get the point of all of these like issues you stated here. We'll kind of pick one strategy that is connected with your urban park that will help solve either a socioeconomic issue or a physical issue.
this part, sir, were the tree planting activities. It is an annual activity hosted by the or program by the local government to um, solve the deforested areas. It is a reforestation by tree planting activities. And also the sustainable tourism, the city also engaged the community or the CBS, they call the CBST program or the community-based sustainable tourism, where the barangay is uh, involved in the operation and the maintenance of these projects imposed by the city government, the livelihood programs also, and also the recreational parks that serves also as a open space or a lungs of the city, because the city is now fully populate. The population in the urban center or the old town is a bit um, uh, increasing by yearly, and also um, there are only almost five small pocket parks in the old poblacion, but this park is located in the outer core or in the new downtown. So I think the recreational parks that will help improve the lives of the community. It will help in also in helping the socio-economic improvements of the whole city. The protected area laws and ordinances, likewise the Balayong tree, which is the most dominant tree in the urban park, it is protected by law that we we as the community engaged in the planting was also the stewards of these trees. This is also recorded in the documents in the Balayong Park Management Office. And also the low carbon transport, because the urban park is um, also one way of encouraging people to be to walk or to have a low carbon motorized like a bicycle. There should be a reduce or a reduction in the carbon dioxide emission because of the urban area. The city can be this part of the city can be walkable. Uh, the resilient infrastructures like before the vegetations, the slope protection, which is landscape. It helps holds the soil to reduce the erosion, the wastewater recycling, and also water sensitivity, because this park also has this artificial pond that act as reservoir to help in the maintenance of the whole landscape of this urban park in watering, and also helps in reducing the increasing temperature in the city.
Mhm.
I think that's all, sir. Um, aside from the um, I think that's all part of
Ah,
the
okay, okay.
for
So,
the last na Bantay Dagat and Bantay Gubat, sir, because it is in watching in the rural areas. So yeah, that's all, sir.
okay, good. Sige, so, um, sorry, microphone is not, it's a bit fuzzy. So basically, uh, try to point out a strategy here and which problem in your socioeconomic issues or physical issues does it solve. So, for example, how does tree planting activities solve one of the issues here, so physical and socioeconomic?
Okay, sir. In a narrative form, sir.
I know, just a simple like how does tree planting impact, let's say, the deforestation and illegal logging activities?
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Oh,
Oh, hello.
hello, sir. Oh,
Okay. So, yeah, I'm asking you a question. How does, let's see, your tree planting activities in your strategies help solve the socioeconomic issue of deforestation and illegal logging activities?
Oh, okay. Sir, because the illegal logging activities happens when this part of the forest is unobserved by the local government. Um, but the the forested areas that were harvested by illegal loggers were replaced by this tree planting by planting massive tree planting activities to help uh, to regenerate all the forested areas that were affected by uh, illegal logging activities.
Okay, good. So basically, you're replacing the trees that the illegal
That,
loggers have cut down.
yes, sir.
Okay,
Or,
and then, okay, good. And then let's see here. I'm trying to pick socioeconomic issues that will relate to your project. Let's see here. Let's see, tourism. So how do you think your proposal of an urban park impact tourism?
yes. Uh, excuse me. The creation of this urban park, sir, adds to the one of the destination in the urban core because all of our tourism site were far from the urban area. Like the Sabang, which is almost 1 hour or 1.5 hours of travel. So other tourist spots also needs some long hours of travel before they can get to where this tourist spot is located. But this tourist spot can also cater not only the tourists, the foreign tourists, but also the locals. And our city mayor provide this additional tourism site in order to make an also an awareness and also an engagement to the community because of the the city is known as the city in the forest. So by providing an urban space or an open space with this tree park, they also help in the enhancing the culture or the community awareness regarding environmental protection, environmental activities, environmental friendly area like this that urban parks can provide, and also it can help in the economy of the city as well as the barangay CBSD programs because urban parks provide not only as a tourism or destination, it also acts as a recreational or a healthy place for sports and sports oriented community, and also helps in giving a much more healthy environment within a city that is congested. So this help in the sustainable tourism that because not all people can travel and can be provided with an infrastructure like this to have a good tourism experience. So I think that's one of the strategies in the urban parks can provide in the sustainability of the tourism of the city.
Okay, sige, good. So it's a bit, yeah. I'll also give you another week to like just make it more focused because it's too general, and we connect the different issues to your thesis proposal. So
Okay,
okay, and that okay, good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Stop
Next,
sharing.
yeah, stop sharing now. Okay, so yep. Let's see here. So connecting it basically with what we discussed in our modules na we're looking at the economic system, the physical system, and how it connects to a project. Because if we're just going to analyze the whole city as a whole, there is no what is our goal. We're just like listing down facts and figures without any kind of bitaw direction. So it gets a bit modeled what we're trying to do. That's why I want you to talk about your thesis project. So you have like a direction. What is the purpose of knowing these different data? And then, yeah, just like bringing it together into one project. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we got Mika. Remove. So we'll try to keep this one under, let's see, we have 3 more people. We can try to keep it at under like 10 minutes max per person, so we don't go too late. Okay, let's see here. Stop presenting. Mika, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Share when you're ready and we'll start.
Makita ra, sir.
Wala pa. Loading pa siguro. Claire. Sige, go.
Hello?
Yes, I can see it. Feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. So my thesis site is actually in Barangay 41 in Tacloban City. Tacloban City is in Region 8, Eastern Visayas. Now, my study site is specifically located along the Avenida Rizal Avenue here. And I have focused my study on this side of the barangay, this Avenida Rizal Avenue. Now, let's start with my region first. So, Region 8 in Eastern Visayas. Now, we have here the population of Eastern Visayas from 1990 to 2015. Now, Eastern Visayas was officially known as Region 8. It's composed of 6 provinces, 12 districts, 7 cities, and 138, actually that's 138 municipalities, and 4,390 barangays. Tacloban City serves as the administrative center for the region, and Region 8 had a total population of 4,140,150 people as of August 2015. So they were not able to give us the projected latest, no, 2020, wala pa. Tingali 2022 pa daw sa February i-release. And we also have here Tacloban City. This is the map of Tacloban City. So we are facing Cancabato Bay here. That's why we really had big damage during the Typhoon Yolanda. City data population 1990 to 2020 as well. Now, Tacloban, Eastern Visayas' only highly urbanized city, the sole HUC in the region, had a total population of 241,089 as of August 2015. And according to the results of the 2015 census of population, it increased by 20,915 people from the 221,174 count in 2010, and then by 63,450 people from the 178,639 count in 2000. Then here on the Barangay 41, where my thesis site is located, the population here, Barangay 41 population, it decreased from 195 in 1990 to 80 in 2020. So there's a drastic decrease of population. Now, a decrease of 115 people over a 30-year period. So that's really a drastic decrease. Well, the most recent census figures for 2020 indicate a negative growth rate of 17.63% or a loss of 121 people compared to the previous population of 201 in 2015. Now, the reason why there's a drastic decrease of population in this area, this barangay, so projected is only 80 from 201 in 2015. It's because of the government started relocating people living in this part of Tacloban since it's near the bay, no? Para they were resettled somewhere in the north. So nabilin lang projected is around 80 people na lang, more or less. And then since this area of Tacloban, this is the commercial district. So naadiri ang mga malls, arcades, and then my thesis is focused more on that aspect, no, sa ano, economic aspect of the city. Now, physical issues of the city. Tacloban City possesses an abundance of biological diversity in terms of marine and forest resources, as well as strategic physical features and structures. Being at the crossroads of the Luzon and Mindanao Road network, Tacloban City's location is essential and significant in terms of the country's road transportation structure. Now, for the weakness, the Tacloban City proper is underlain by the San Ricardo Formation sedimentary sequence, which is very slightly dipping. Now, this is evident at Canhurao Hill, which rises characteristically from a generally lowland area. So in this part of Tacloban, specifically in Barangay 41, wala ni siya kay high-rise buildings because a huge part of this barangay is actually reclaimed and murag dili makaya sa yuta natukuran siya og high-rise. That's why kanang kuan lang siya, vertical lang ang tanan na mga commercial buildings during Dapita. So that's what my study is focused on. Now, for socio-economic issues, strength, as part of Tacloban City's climate change adaptation strategy, there are socio-economic development pathways, including the land use, economic growth, population governance, and environmental protection that determine how localities balance their opportunity and risks. But for the weakness in Tacloban, there is actually a lack of local employment opportunities in the city. Then strategies to solve or mitigate these issues, generally, I've answered this generally. The one strategy for resolving or mitigating the issues mentioned is for all stakeholders in the city of Tacloban to engage in more collaborative and human-centered participatory planning. These issues will be properly addressed and thoroughly discussed, and then through this strategy, with the goal of eliciting relevant solutions from planners and different stakeholders in the community. Additionally, it is very critical to incorporate this in the development of the CLUP or the Comprehensive Land Use Plan to ensure long-term solutions to each of these issues. Because after the Typhoon Yolanda, there are numerous issues that rose up. But since I'm focusing on this part of the city, wala to akong gi-include po. So that's my presentation, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. So I'll just throw you a couple of questions over here. So your proposal was a let's see, equitable use concept on sidewalk design, developing a PWD-friendly and pandemic-ready design recommendation in Avenida Rizal storefront. Okay.
Yes.
So, how do you think the physical issues of your site make it better or make it worse for your proposal? Like, does it make your proposal easier and why? And does it make your proposal hard or like more difficult and then why?
Actually, there's a part that would make the project difficult, but sahipot easier because the area of my studies doon na magod siya sa bay, and then there's a tendency that if I would propose something sa sidewalks, kay gamay na magud siya kayo nga sidewalk, so there's a possibility that I would propose a wider sidewalk for PW-friendly design and then pandemic-ready design. So there's a possibility that ang mga buildings somewhere near the bay is wala na po siya. Kaya nga na. So they have to tingali relocate somewhere else. Because actually, honestly speaking, sir, these buildings kay dili na po siya safe. Mo ni siya ang isa ka na damage kay kaayo during the typhoon. Kay pag storm surge, na wash out yun ni sila. Then they just reconstructed these buildings. Even the McDo and the Jollibee, wala sila kaayo ni I mean, damage gid sila during the typhoon, pero nibalik ra gihapon. So mo to, sir.
Balik ng mga tao. So the goal is to improve walkability because you're expecting more people to come back in the future.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So muna siya. And hopefully ma-renovate yung mga damaged structures. Okay,
Yes,
let's
sir.
go to economic issues. So I think we all know that increased walkability or mobility is very good for what they call this economic issues because they bring in generally more business. So based on your socio-economic issues, what do you think will make this proposal more difficult? Can you cite some examples? And also, what do you think are some uh, elements in your side that will make your proposal easier with regards to socio-economic issues?
Since I've mentioned, sir, earlier that probably with my proposal, I would be um, relocating some of the buildings, and then these buildings man could nabagala sila commercial man gihapon ni sila. And then if that would happen, then there would be lesser opportunities in downtown area. So in my proposal, I think I should incorporate um, proposal which would generate more opportunities for the locals of Tacloban. At the same time, I can offer them a safe and PWD friendly design.
Okay, good. Okay. And then I think that's pretty much all my issues. You have answered it very well. So thank you for that, Mika.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Next, let's see here. Where is it? Where's my wheel? Here. So next we got Bea. Bea, are you here? And then Christine is the last one of the evening.
Yes, sir. Sir, you can share you can share your screen because I cannot share here sa
Okay,
kulap.
no problem. So
Thank
I'll
you.
just tell me to zoom in and zoom out as needed.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so again, we're focusing on how the site, the economic system, the physical system, and the social system connect to your project. Does it make your project more difficult to achieve, or does it make it easier to achieve? What are the different impacts and strengths and weaknesses that will contribute to your or make your project more difficult? Okay, so just for everyone's sake, Bea is working on a Ormoc Park redevelopment, or no, that was guidelines for developing parks in Ormoc.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can start when ready.
So, good evening, everyone. I will be reporting about the urban issues of Ormoc City. So, let's start with the location of the city. So, Ormoc City is part of the Eastern Visayas province, which is Region 8. Then you can see here at the map, it is located at the upper left portion of Leyte. And then, the neighboring municipalities of Ormoc is Merida, Matagob, Cananga, Haro, and Albuera. So for the population data of Ormoc City, in 1990, we have a population of around 129,456 people. Then over the past 20 years, you can see that the population almost doubled, which is 230,998 people. Ormoc City has a land area of 613.6 square kilometers or 236.91 square miles, which constitutes 19.69% of latest total area. Its population, as determined by the 2020 census, was 230,998. This represented 13% of the total population of Leyte Province or 5.08% of the overall population of the Eastern Visayas region. Based on these figures, the population density is computed at 376 inhabitants per square kilometer or 975 inhabitants per square mile. So, for the physical issues, for me, the strength of Ormoc City is that it is near the Ormoc Bay, and then which means it's near the port, And then we have a flat topography, which does not limit our built up areas to expand over the whole city. Then, for the weaknesses, for now, since we don't have an concrete expansion of the city, we have a congested built up area near the bay. So for the socio-economic issues, one advantage is a trading issue, which is we have different ports. We have a passenger port. We also have cargo ports near the city. Then we have numerous commercial activities ongoing in the city. We have hotels, malls currently developing, and then there are also proposed commercial projects na in the near future. And then we also have our own geothermal plant in the city. And then for the weaknesses, our area is considered as a typhoon or disaster prone area. So we have experienced different typhoons, then flash floods, then it is kind of a disadvantage for investors or businessmen knowing this kind of issue. Then for the strategies, we need to have an up-to-date CLUP because over time, these hazardous areas are located every year. It changes so we need an updated CLUP to locate these hazardous areas so that we will plan around those areas. And then since we are typhoon or disaster prone area, we need to have like a concrete post disaster recovery plan for the whole for the whole city. And then in relation to my thesis location, my location is actually in the main city core, which is near the city area, now considered as a hazardous area of Ormoc City. So my thesis proposes an assessment of the existing part in order to develop a better park in the near future on the expanded area. So that ends my report, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I like how it's short, so we can like really focus on the different issues here. So your question will be, how does your park, this was an easy question, how does your park like enhance or help solve the physical issues in your city?
My part as a urban designer, sir.
Your Ormoc Park,
Oh.
your project.
Oh, my park.
Ah.
I thought part. Okay. For the park, sir, it for the physical issues na congested built up area, the city will be expanding to new locations. So with my with my park recommendations, based from their sociological activities found on the existing area, it will surely help them design or recommend design suggestions that would surely improve the next park, that they will not be repeating the same mistakes that we did on the previous park.
Okay, I would have accepted as well that you said here congested, so the park will help open up the city, so it's not as congested because you have more open air, more open spaces means more ventilation, more light, etc., etc. So I was hoping you would say that. So that's good enough though. So let's see here. Another weakness is typhoon slash disaster prone area. How do you think your park addresses that weakness or issue?
So if the park if the areas have been already identified, the hazardous area, for sure the new relocated park will not be placed on a typhoon prone area. So if ever it will not be avoided that there will be a disaster on that area, the design should also be resilient and then easily maintained after if ever there is a disaster on the park, sir.
Okay. You could also say that I'm just like expanding like possible ideas. I know your thesis is done. Like a park could also be a good place for an evacuation center, like a temporary evacuation center. So if Ormoc City has more parks and they're designed in the way that You mentioned in your thesis that it's like it accounts for the local area. It's large enough for the population. A park that kind of that size could also become like a temporary evacuation facility. They can set up tents there. They can set up like a temporary like with a relocation area for something like that. So that's how your park could probably help solve like uh, socioeconomic issues like being a disaster prone area. Like after the disaster, there's nothing to destroy in the park. Like maybe that some trees might be uprooted, but it will generally stay intact. So maybe it could be some kind of evacuation center is what I was hoping. Maybe you could have discussed a bit. Anyway, let's see here. So that's pretty much it. Post-disaster recovery plan. Your parks, your recommendations could include some kind of a risk assessment for your city. Like maybe this, instead of saying it's not a good idea to put a park here because it might get destroyed. You could say that it's a good idea to put a park here because this could help. What they call this with like rainwater detention. It could also be so. And the park is not just a place you visit, but also has another function. So multiple function, multiple uses for the same space. And also your parks would be also included in the CLUP. Okay. So Kanisha, okay, good. So going to our finals, before I go to the last student, so during our final presentation, we'll still use this data, but then we'll focus really how it connects to your different theses. So you can see how looking at the macro scale all the way to the micro scale, what are different issues that could be addressed by any kind of project, not just your project, but your classmates' projects as well. Okay, thank you for that, Bea. And then finally,
Thank you so much, sir.
where is my wheel? Okay, Christine. I don't know why I went back there. Christine, are you here? There you are. Hello? I think you're unmuted, but it seems like your microphone is not working. Hello, Christine? Uh-oh. Wala. No audio. Okay. That's fine. Maybe we can reschedule. I think we can make some time for you for a while. Okay. We can wait a bit. Okay, I did. We are until 9 o'clock. Let's see here. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. And for those who already presented, you can stick around. Okay, I was on the boss. Because I'll just put the notes and descriptions on your different Canvas pages. And then we can continue our discussion on infrastructure and what was it? Infrastructure and I have it here on my modules that's not filled up yet. Infrastructure and governance and financing. So looking at your different projects at all the major aspects of your different project, how to make it better and etc. etc. Okay. Yeah, it's really not working. So maybe we can get back to you, Christine, on next Saturday. So just looking at your work as well, let me just share my screen. So no problem at all. Very flexible with the schedule, especially it's unavoidable now. Our devices get a bit crazy because let's see, is it Mendoza? Is it this one? No, that's Olira. Cancel. This one is Mika. This one. Okay, so this one looks good. You even have your population in the graph. So just make sure na when you discuss next Saturday, you'll focus on how it relates to your thesis proposal of, let's see, another forest park, another public park in your area, in Puerto Princesa specifically. Okay, so I really don't want to go all the way to 9 o'clock. No problem, Christine. I'm like looking at everyone's submissions, and they're good, but we can tweak it a bit more. But I'll give you your grading in a few minutes, and I'll give you some more notes on Canvas. So for now, thank you for your presentations. So we're on track now, just really looking at the different issues and how they affect urban development. And urban development doesn't have to mean like you're creating new built up areas. It can also mean you're preserving existing natural areas, sort of maintaining that balance between the built up system, which is the man-made physical elements of the city, and the natural physical elements of the city. And like that balance will help improve the social and economic conditions. So a sustainable city has like job opportunities provided by the physical environment, like office buildings, increased population. And then the way to like take care of that existing population in your different areas is to make sure that the people have like on the more socioeconomic side are treated fairly. They have proper governance, which is really the issue in the Philippines. But having a good physical environment, a good urban environment can really help like alleviate city life. Like for example, Mika's project of improving the sidewalks, so mobility within the city is better. Bea's project of open parks, meaning the citizens have a space where they can like relax and get away from the noise and like the pollution of the city. And then Olira's project of preserving the heritage sites, which will provide sort of a benchmark or a basis for the identity of the people in that area. All these things, they're connected. And if they're well maintained and sort of the policies are in place, that's really where urban planners, environmental planners come in to make sure that balance is maintained. And then if that balance is maintained, you have a sustainable city. It just keeps on growing without taking too much resources or like making future generations suffer for decisions of today. Anyway, so that's basically the whole point of this subject. So very good midterm presentations. It might be because my instructions weren't as clear as I thought they were, but I'll give you guys a week if you want to. Some of your works were already very good that you don't need to tweak it anymore. But if you want to, I'll give you like another week extension, and then I'll put it into ISMIS for your final midterm grades. And then, yes, Christine will be presenting next Saturday. We'll start at 6 p.m. So next Saturday, 6 p.m., we'll do Christine's presentation, and then we'll do a lecture on, what was it? Infrastructure, managing growth within a city. And then hopefully if we have enough time, we can also stick in some, what do you call this? Governance and financing. So that will be, and I will just share my screen for the recording. That will be October 23 and 30. Okay, so we can like do 2 meetings for that, because on November, I'll be asking the help of Architect Solis to really talk about heritage conservation and sustainability, which was presented earlier this afternoon by this, what's this, Pamana launching. They talked about how heritage is connected with sustainability, sort of similar to how Olira talked about why heritage is important in her site. So that's our outlook for October and November. So 23 infrastructure, 30 governance and financing, November 6 probably 6 and 13 if the schedule permits for Ma'am Soles, because she's really the expert on heritage. Like we can have 2 meetings on that. And then 2027 will be talking about disaster risk management and other like case studies abroad and here in the Philippines. Like what are they doing? Like especially I think the Philippines is more at risk for typhoons. The issues for like for Australia, for example, the main issue of like climate change is really forest fires. So that's a totally different problem in the Philippines. In the Philippines, we have typhoons. In Australia, they have forest fires. Okay, so we can end it here. All right, I'll stop recording.